Welcome to Martial Mentality and Martial Arts Inspired Podcast. Today I have with me Joseph Blackwelder and our special guest, Mr. Ricky Leach. Welcome to the show, Ricky. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Great. So our topic today is going to be the pros and cons of practicing more than one martial art style. So everybody at this table practices various systems. So let's start with Ricky. So Ricky, well, first off, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then you can go into like what you're practicing now.
All right. I'm Ricky Leach. I'm 19 years old. I'm a mass comm student at Winthrop, and I do Isshin-Ryu karate, and I just recently started up doing Kung Fu here at the Northern Shaolin School of Kung Fu.
Okay. And Joe, everybody on this podcast who's ever listened to us knows a lot about you, but if you want to tell our new listeners what you do and things of that nature.
Yeah, I'm Joseph Blackwelder. I help produce the podcast. But as far as martial arts go, I've been training Northern Shaolin Kung Fu for about 3.5 years. I've probably got about 7 months of maybe like boxing and wrestling, maybe a little more in wrestling. And I'm also trying to branch out. Like maybe I've done a few karate seminars. I don't know. When you train martial arts, eventually you're going to dabble in others.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's just going to happen, So.
And so I've done Isshin-Ryu karate for about 23 years now and Kung Fu for 23 years now. So I've done both systems almost the same amount of time. I've actually done karate a little bit longer, a few more months longer than I've done Kung Fu. But
nice.
So.
And obviously in 23 years, I know you've had countless, like you've done boxing, you like seminars, you've done Muay Thai seminars,
done
like
all
a
kinds
lot
of
of
other
grappling,
stuff.
judo.
Yes, dabbled in a lot of other stuff, but those are the two main things that I've focused on primarily. So let's talk about the pros and cons of training more than one system. So let's talk about the pros first.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with Joe. Joe, you've been doing Kung Fu for a while, but you've done other systems. What do you think are the pros of practicing more than one martial art?
There's two that come to mind right off the bat. And the first one I thought of is like, think about your opponent, right? Like a lot of people I think get stuck in their head when they train one martial art and they train against the people doing the same martial art that they fight a certain way, that they don't get to see what it's like fighting somebody who does a different martial art.
Mm-hmm.
So, you never know if you get into a real altercation, like what somebody's going to do. So I think it better prepares you for all circumstances.
That's a good way to think about it. Yeah. You get a chance to kind of like see other systems, see how people move, see tactics. That's a
where
great
their
way
heads
to think
at.
about it. Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Ricky, what about you?
I think you get a better range of motion depending on like doing karate and then Kung Fu. You're doing all of the different movements of karate, but then doing Kung Fu, it's very, very like wide and flowy. So you're getting a bunch of different I feel like it's just better for your body to get different ranges of motion. And like Joe was saying, you're able to open up more opportunities if you know how to do two separate styles.
Mm.
To kind of piggyback off what both of y'all are saying, I mean, that makes sense because doing different things has helped me be able to learn. Actually, I would say this, a pro is being able to learn faster because now like I'll see something and I can analyze and go, oh, that's this or, oh, that's this, or they're doing this, so I think just kind of being able to just learn quicker. You kind of get in that mode of, hey, I got to get this, or this moves like this and this is how this works and things like that. So I mean, I think that's another pro. And different mechanics. You learn different mechanics because you start to learn, like in boxing, there's different ways to throw a jab.
Yep.
There's different ways to throw a cross. There's so many different ways to throw these things. And then you can kind of then go, okay, well, I like to do it like this. And this works for me. Or I can do it like this. So I think those are other pros and things like that for martial arts. But let's just discuss it. So anything else, any other pros that you can think of? I mean, there's tons of them actually.
You say mechanics, but also people.
That's true. Yeah.
You get to train with different people, and you get to see how they train. Like obviously, like you could go to 10 boxing gyms, and they're all going to train probably a little bit different, but they're going to have similarities. But it's cool just to see how to prepare yourself, your body, your mind to be to box versus kickbox,
Mhm.
wrestle, you know,
Mhm.
kung fu. Like, so that's pretty cool too.
I also feel like if you're doing two styles or more at once, you're using more parts of your body, and whenever you actually go to spar, it feels like you're able to do a lot more and you have a lot more confidence in yourself rather than if you just have one style like you were saying earlier. It's like you're in this mindset of, oh, I have to use this, I have to use that. But if you're doing multiple, you're like, oh, I have my whole body, I can do this, and you have more on your table that you can choose from.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it kind of opens up your mind to the possibilities of things you can do. And again, like, you know, going back to the mechanics aspect,
Yeah.
there's so many different ways to do things. You go, well, I can do this, I can do that, I can try this, I can go this way.
Well, we're not on the negatives yet, but I don't know. Like, I've got a gripe, you know, like I don't like not doing inside. Like, now that I've learned like doing inside leg kicks, I don't like not being able to do them. But I know it depends on what you're training for, rule set. But like, it also kind of opens up like what we were just talking about, right? Like, it opens your mind up to like different possibilities, right? We also sometimes, you know, we got the whole 3 to 5 second, which is kind of realistic. Like, if somebody grabs you, you want to either take them down or get them off of you. But like, sometimes, you know, what if it lasts longer? You know,
Yeah,
let them work it out. You know,
it can.
Like,
I mean, it can, and that gets
if they don't know what we're talking about. It's like some tournaments, every tournament in sport fighting has different rules, right? Like, you know, and I feel like it's a good thing and a bad thing, because sometimes you're training for realistic situations, or you know, like, there are mechanics and principles. You always say this, like, you know, you train based off principles, and that's what makes you a good martial artist. But sometimes things can happen outside of those realms of, like, you know, those rule sets.
Oh yeah, definitely. And so that's why, like, you know, when you look at different systems and things of that nature, I mean, you know, you look at wrestling, you know, wrestling has a certain pedagogy, a certain aspect of how they approach combat, as opposed to boxing has a different way of approaching combat. So, you know, the rule sets of how you practice those martial arts are going to be different.
Yep.
You know, so, I mean, if you think about it, we're all mixed martial artists in a sense, you know, because we're mixing and matching martial arts.
Right.
You know, so
it's like, I don't know. That's another gripe of mine. It like is how it's like divided. It's like some people say MMA is its own thing, and then other people, you know, it literally stands for mixed martial arts. So I don't understand how people I can kind of get it, because if you have no training, you walk into an MMA place, usually they have a few bags that they pull from. Like, you know, usually they have some form of wrestling. They got some kickboxing, some kind of kickboxing, whether it's Thai or whatever, and then, you know, boxing, like, so. But it's still a mixed martial arts. So it's like, but I guess to somebody who hasn't done anything, they go in there, they learn that style. That's why they treat that as one martial art.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you think about it. You know, when you learn mixed martial arts, like you just said, there's certain tactics and skills I need to give you if you're going to get in the ring to be able to win or survive or do whatever you're going to do.
Right.
And that's kind of like why I like continuous sparring a lot more than point, is because you're open to more opportunities to do things, and also just I feel like you're able to learn a lot more from continuous than points. Like, point sparring has like its own like gimmick, like you're learning how to like do speed and find openings, but with like continuous, you have a wider range of like where you can hit, and also just more things you have to look out for and think about that will, I feel like, prepare you better for if you're in like an actual real life altercation and you need to defend yourself.
It's good. Like, it can still be a pro to train both, though, because principles, right? You're still learning principles.
Right.
Like at first, and I still not going to say I like point sparring because it's just not my thing, but I'm sometimes more intimidated by a good point spar than like somebody who wants to grapple or something. I like to grapple and stuff, but when you get against like somebody who's good at point sparring, if you don't like get past that, you know, they're very fast, they're very tactical, and they can end the fight with one shot. That's, you know, so it can be intimidating, and it's like you can't expect, you never know what you're going to run into in a real situation. They might grab you, they might run away, they might shell up, or they might hit that karate stance, and, you know, they're gonna you better have your hands up.
You know, again, and you guys are hitting on a lot of good pros.
Michael Venom Page, and then who's
Wonder Boy.
Wonder Boy, yeah.
Wonder
and Lyoto
Boy.
Machida. I mean, woo.
Michelle Watterson. When you look at people like that, but again, like, going back to like the pros of doing different systems, like you just said, the training methods are different. And so you learn different ways to develop a skill. Like boxing's going to develop a different skill than like a wrestling gym or Taekwondo school. Very
true. A lot of traditional, like, you'll be on the wall, you'll work in your hip muscles, you're working your flexibility, getting those kicks up. You go in another gym where they're preparing to get in the ring as fast as possible. They're just going to like throw kicks at you, and hit you, like, you know what I'm saying? It's a different method of training.
Right. So. Right. So, I mean, there's a lot of good pros. So let's talk about some of the cons. What are some of the cons of maybe practicing more than one martial art at the same time?
Too many coaches in your head. That was like, I'm not saying a big issue. I've always been the type of person to try to pull knowledge everywhere I can. Like I like soaking up all that information. But I think I said this on a previous podcast. If you're learning, learn from all kinds of coaches. As long as like one's not taken away from the other, like you're just learning. But when you're training it in the ring, like I feel like you kind of need one voice,
right?
To kind of coach you through, and at least to when you get into, like, if you do a fight camp or whatever it is, like when you set your mind to this one event, you should have that one voice.
I agree. I think that's a good idea. What about you, Ricky? What are some cons?
Yeah. Talking about like the coach thing, like having multiple people to like guide you is really good. But there might be points where you're learning something and then there's a bunch of contradicting like values that they're like, no, you should do it like this. And then someone says you should do it like that. And then you're kind of in your head of like, oh, I don't know who to listen to. Or like, I don't know if I'm doing this right because you've been told that's wrong so many different times. You're just like, I don't know how to do it anymore. And also another, like learning two styles at once, it can be really confusing depending on what the two styles are. If they're kind of like a little bit of polar opposites with like how they move and stuff, kind of like karate and kung fu. Karate is like kind of like
boxing and wrestling.
Yeah. More like snappy lower, while kung fu is very flowy and going higher. It can be really confusing, especially whenever you're trying to learn new stuff. It's like, okay, I think I'm doing it. And then they're like, no, you got to do it more like that, like be more open or like wide with it.
I think, another con can be you can be a jack of all trades and master of none.
Yeah, I've had that issue in a lot of areas of my life. At least in my own head, I feel like that. Yeah, and, it kind of bothers me.
You get okay in a lot of areas, but you're never like, you don't have that thing that you like.
You can even get pretty good in things, but like to get great at something, you've got to dedicate time to that.
Yes, I mean, can I do a little boxing? Sure.
Right.
Am I a boxer? No.
Right.
Can I kick pretty well? Sure. Am I a Taekwondo guy? No.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Can I, so like there's things that, I mean, I can do these things and I can do them at a decent level, but I'm not a master of that particular
I hate
skill.
using that word. We were talking about the other day in the group chat, like, there's quotes out there about taking at least 10,000 hours to master something. And I don't even like using the term master, because at that term, you should be at a very high level or some kind of high level, right? Doing it that long, but that doesn't mean you've mastered it. But just think about that. That's a lot of hours. That's a lot of time.
And so that's why, like, it frustrates me. Like, I've learned that, when somebody reaches a black belt or black sash or high level in something, I mean, they're good, but I would never consider that person a master. I don't believe in masters, even though I may call somebody master.
Right.
A lot of times I'm calling you master out of respect.
Yeah.
But as far as like anybody on this planet being quote unquote a master, I would say there's no master.
Nobody knows everything.
No. There's always something new to learn.
That's right. Or improve.
So Ricky, so tell us about your kind of journey learning two styles. I mean, so kind of tell us how you got into martial arts, and then tell us how you kind of started learning two systems, and And so, how's it going now? Is it something that you think you're going to continue? Does it feel like, I don't know, this is not my thing? Take us through that.
It's kind of funny how I figured out to get I started with with karate Ishinryu at Winthrop, and my first year there I came in as a theater tech and design major, and I was like, no, I don't want to do this. So I had a whole meeting, and then the advisor was like, you should get your pesh out of the way. And then one of the ones was like martial arts. I'm like, that seems pretty cool. And I went to the class and did all of it. I'm like, I kind of want to keep doing this. So I think I did that for almost a year or so.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was just the first semester, and then halfway through the second semester, I came here before summer started and was just doing kung fu with y'all. And then the summer I came back, I was doing the karate, and then I started talking to you about how does the kung fu school work, and all of the tuition and fees and stuff. And I've been doing that ever since.
So do you feel like you made a good decision maybe doing 2 systems, or you feel like maybe I should have just stuck with one?
I like doing both because of just how much training I get to do and how much time I spend outside of my room not playing video games, which is good for me. And I feel like it's made me improve a lot faster than just me doing only one style. I get 2 viewpoints on something, and I find it a lot more fun doing 2 because it's more of a challenge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, challenge is good.
Yeah. A lot of people don't realize if you want to be good at both, that means you got to train both, which means it takes a little bit more time out of your schedule because, you got to think about, I got to practice my karate kata or my techniques. I got to practice my kung fu aspect, and it's difficult to try to mix and match. Even me now, I dedicate time for my karate and time for my kung fu. I try to separate it.
Yeah.
So I can focus on that thing.
Yeah. I'm trying to balance out my training as well, between doing the tournament and I want to box, I want to do the wrestling, I might spar. So that's kickboxing. So yeah, you got to balance it. You got to want it. You got to want to do it,
I'll say this just before I jump to you and ask you the same question I asked Ricky. But here's another con. The time element becomes a lot more sometimes if you're training more than one. Because again, if you want to be good at that, you got to dedicate time to 2 things or more than 2 things now.
Yeah.
So you look at some of these, even the MMA fighters, that's a good example. Look how much time it takes them to work a craft because there's so many things that they have to be good at before they get in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
To be a good wrestler, this now, that takes time.
Those fighters are going to have strengths and weaknesses in different areas, but they need to touch every area.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And if they don't, then, a great example of that, you look at Ronda Rousey.
Yep.
Grappling, amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Throwing, amazing. Striking was not good.
Yeah.
And so you go with a high-level striker, Amanda Nunes.
Yeah. Khabib and Conor McGregor.
Right,
People said Khabib couldn't strike, but he clocked Conor McGregor. But clocked him and then took him down, and then the rest is history. But I don't know. But the opposite can happen just as well. We just talked about some of the great karate fighters out there.
Yeah.
Whew.
Oh yeah.
So
so Joe, same thing. I just asked Ricky. So
about some of my plans. I'm kung fu. I feel like is always going to be home base for me. You know what I mean? I'm always going to try to progress in kung fu because kung fu is fighting. It's so that's, I take it with me when I go to these other places, but I also think of, kung fu as kind of a lifestyle kind of thing, so kung fu will always be home base for me. So I'm looking to progress in that, through our SASH system, and we've talked about this. We had a whole podcast on sashes, it's not everything, but it gives you a good, something to set your sights on, and it's longevity, But as far as my other goals, like I said, I'm looking to coach, which I've got my first student now.
Hey,
so it's still technically, Dai Sihing, Sifu's student, but I'm taking over while he's gone, which is awesome. But I'm trying to get experience under my belt, to coach. So I've already got I've done sparring, I've done Swai Jiao one time. I'm doing Swai Jiao again. I got a Lei Tai match, and I'm looking to box in June for the first time. So I'm gonna be boxing, training that for June. Right now, I'm working kung fu and I'm working my wrestling for Swai Jiao next month. And then after boxing, I got to be honest with you, I'm gonna do kung fu, and I'm probably gonna be signing up either back where I was or at another place, and I'm gonna be doing jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
Like probably for a longer period this time. Like I want to get blue belt.
Gotcha.
I don't care how long it takes. Like probably a few years, I'd imagine, but I would like to at least reach blue belt in jiu-jitsu.
I think I know I'm being a little random, but it seems like a lot of people like that's kind of become like their goal in learning jiu-jitsu. It's like, oh, once you get blue belt, you pretty much you're pretty good by then.
It's night and day, man. Like, and it's not like size always matters. I know we talk about this, but it's just like white versus blue, like in a strict like jiu-jitsu fashion. The blue wins 9 out of 10 times. It's crazy. I'm telling you, I wrestled with a few guys like in a jiu-jitsu fashion. We started on our feet too. We didn't just start on the ground, but wrestled some people that was bigger than me that I could kind of handle myself very well. I'm not saying I submitted them, but like I maintained good position, didn't get submitted, and I went against smaller guys that I could not do anything with. Anything. And I mean, I was tapping multiple times, so it just we said it before, there's levels to it. There are levels to it. So
yes.
Yeah.
So
it's chess, So it is fun. It's kind of addictive, but it's good. It's healthy.
I think for me, I would see here's my thing, because I've had offers of other people be like, hey, I want to train you in this or try this with you. And again, what makes it so difficult is because it's like, dang, like I do want to try these things, but again, it's the time constraint. And it's like, dog, I don't have time to dedicate to all these things. So I want to be good at them.
I played guitar 20 years, like 20 something years now, right? And like I still dedicate time to it. I still but I can play guitar. I can dabble on bass guitar, banjo, piano. I say dabble because if I want to learn another instrument and learn it well, it takes away from the time I need to put on the guitar.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. It's the same thing with like the karate and kung fu.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm doing these two, because I had somebody be like, yo, hey, like I really want to teach you this style, this system. And I mean, this is a legit, like a very good teacher.
Yeah.
And it's like, gosh, I want to do it, but I don't know if I'm going to have time to dedicate to make sure I'm good at this.
We should reiterate this to the students in class too. We talked about this, but like we meet up 3 times a week for this, right? And some people, show up just for class. Like I got kids, so I'll show up there. I try to train, and others do too. A lot of people do. But say you show up even during kids class and stay through all 3 days. So the math is like, what's that, 5 to 8:30? So that's 3.5 hours.
Yep.
Times 2. So that's 7 hours. And then another 3.5, right? So 10.5 hours a week. 10.5 hours a week.
Yeah.
The Shaolin monks did this at least 8 hours a day.
Oh, easily.
Minimum.
Easily. They're training all day.
Since they were youngins.
Right.
Those Muay Thai fighters over there, they don't just one day decide, I'm going to go do Muay Thai. They've been doing this their whole life for generations.
Right.
So,
it's in their culture.
It's in their culture.
So
Sumo in Japan.
That's the difference.
It's part of I don't want to set off any fire alarms, but there's like religion behind that. They look at them as like demigods.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. It's pretty, I'm like, it's cool. You know what I mean? To think that way, but.
So for you, Ricky, like to kind of give you some, so we talked about this in the chat. I don't know if you saw it, but it takes 10,000 hours to master any skill. Okay. And so if we actually did some math, because I was thinking about this actually. So let me pull up my phone.
Those sumo wrestlers, like people think they're just big, and their lifestyle is like one of the most disciplined in the world. Like they wake up and live and breathe 24/7 sumo.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I saw a video about like their diets. It's
10,000 plus calories, and they cut back, and like they're still looking for a certain percentage of body fat and muscle.
Yeah, because I watched like a professional chef on YouTube, and he like made the meals for the guy throughout the whole day. It's like very strict on what he eats as well.
Right.
So let's take our school for example. So let's say
10 and a half hours a week, right? 52 weeks in a year.
10.5 times 52. That's 546. Okay.
So 10,000 divided by what?
Let's see. So 10,000 divided by 546. 18 years. 18.332 years.
That's just to hit 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just if you come to class
every day for all sessions for 18.
Yeah, for
Not
18
counting if
years.
there's like cancellation because of like snow or anything like that.
Right.
There's another saying out there. I don't know if this is in other professions, but like a lot of blue collar professions, like there's this whole like journeyman, you know, I forget all the terminology, but like I don't even think you're considered a journeyman until like 8 years. And then you're not like I don't know what you call it. It's not master, but it's like 20 years to reach like, you know, upper level.
Right.
So,
and so when you think about it and you hear somebody say, oh, well, I've got my X amount, you know, I got my black belt in 3 years. That's why it's kind of like.
And they could have been showing up to class 2 times a week.
You know what I'm saying? and I'm not going to say you're not skilled. I can't say that,
right.
You know? But then, you know, it just makes me question how many hours have been put in, you know? Like, did you put in enough hours, you know, to be skilled at what you're doing? And some people are just prodigies. They just pick it up.
It happens. It happens.
I've seen
it doesn't. Yep.
But, you know, most people are, no offense, not that talented. Ricky can tell you because he sees a lot of different people coming to our class. Yep. And Ricky, you know what? I want you to say something, Ricky. Ricky, when people come into our class at Winthrop, can you tell who has skill and who doesn't?
Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? You know, like you see it.
Right.
You don't have to like, you know, and he sees that there's a lot of people that come in our class and they're like, oh, I'm a black belt and I've got this and I've got that. And Ricky, tell me, how many people who have said that have you honestly believed or seen that they can back up what they say?
There's only been one person, and he didn't even go in there and being like, "Oh, I'm a black belt in this." He literally just only said that, "Oh yeah, I've been training this style and been doing this stuff since I was a kid." He wasn't trying to boat about anything. He was just saying like, "Hey, I've been doing this," and he proved it. He was really good.
Yeah. Usually the people that actually train are not the showboaters.
Yeah,
you know?
man.
You get a bad egg every once in a while, but like I found more ego in people that don't train for sure.
I think another just popped in my head too. This is another pro of just training different systems. I've learned different cultures. Like Asian culture is so vast, and doing a Chinese system versus an Okinawa system, they're similar in some respects, but they're still completely different. You know, a lot of times I feel like, and we're kind of lax at Winthrop, but Ricky can tell you when we go to these tournaments, it's a lot more regimented in the karate side as opposed to the kung fu side. So Ricky, tell me kind of like, how, like since you've experienced kind of both cultures in like an Okinawan and Chinese setting, like what are the differences? What are the pros or cons of that? Because this kind of goes with the topic. So
the difference, like karate, it's a lot more like formal. Like you gotta like present someone like with their name, like whether it be like sensei or master, and then you have to be very formal with how like you greet them and all of that stuff. While at the like kung fu tournaments and all that, it's a lot more relaxed, more like chill, like you're like family friends or something like that. Yeah.
I would say, how was it like going, like when you go into the MMA gym or the boxing gym, the culture there?
It just brought it, like, it's pretty interesting. Like, and you know, every martial arts kind of has their own culture, right? Like I found it similar at that gym and then the boxing gym I go to, like boxing has its own kind of culture, right? But, you know, when you show up to boxing or kickboxing, you know, you jump right in, like the warm-ups are like, some people would probably leave after those warm-ups, you know what I'm saying? But ironically, like when we start jiu-jitsu class, you put the belt on, you bow in. So I thought that was cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So like when you put your, like for the jiu-jitsu,
I did no gi.
I was going to ask,
but we still put a belt on. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Still tie the belt. No, we line up in ranks and
gotcha.
then, you know, salute him.
Do you have to wear a specific uniform?
Nope.
You just wear whatever you want.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. Yeah, I thought that's interesting because you know, you see gi jujitsu, and then you see no gi jujitsu.
They have a gi program. I think it's like early mornings, and but no, I wanted to do no gi.
I actually did a long time ago. Me and Trevor did Japanese jujitsu, which is a lot of it's a little bit different,
Right.
Because we actually learned some strikes.
Yeah.
So we learned some strikes, and then we learned takedowns too.
I swear I would love if there was a place close by that did like traditional, like, legitimate judo. I would be all in. I would probably take that over jiu-jitsu, honestly.
I will. If there was something else that I could learn that I feel like, yes, I know it would take time, but I feel like it wouldn't conflict as much with the karate and kung fu, because I think it would enhance it, would be like judo or swai jiao or something like that. You know,
that's part of the reason I do swai jiao. Like I think it's got similarities, I say, but like judo also has groundwork, but then there's also that catch as catch can wrestling. That's pretty interesting, but I would love to do judo, but I feel like swai jiao is the closest thing, and it's got a lot of principles that are similar, a lot of throws, a lot of the same techniques. It's just your goal in swai jiao is to stay on your feet,
right?
100%.
Right. So what's some advice maybe we can give our listeners on if they're thinking about doing more than one system? What things would you tell them about, hey, maybe you should do this, or if you're going to do this, consider this? Let's start with you, Ricky.
I'd say the first thing you have to do is find like a reliable and trustworthy person to teach you. Because I was just about to say that, because he was talking about trying to find a place to do judo. I'd say that's the only really hard part, is actually finding a school that is legitimate and doesn't do some funky stuff.
Funky
McDojo.
stuff. Yeah, it's true. I mean, we've talked about this on a previous podcast, but anybody can start a school. You can go start a school.
That's right.
You can literally you can go online, buy a black belt, put on a gi, showcase a little skill, and people go, yeah, that guy's for real. You'd be surprised. It's not that hard to do.
Yep.
A lot of people do it. So, I mean, ethics in the martial arts that's a whole nother podcast. But I mean, a lot of people don't have ethics.
Yeah, I found you a good teacher for sure.
Yes.
Yes. My take on it is, before the teacher's probably the most important thing, I think. But before that, do what interests you. Do what interests you. If one thing interests you more than the other, then go try that out. You know what I mean? If you're more interested in traditional styles, then go do a traditional style. If you want to get flexibility and you just like the kicks and flash kicks, go do Taekwondo.
Right.
Do what interests you, I feel like, but then also you got to find a good teacher and good people.
That's true. You got to find a culture. You got to find a group of people that kind of meet the needs of whatever you're looking for.
Yeah. Yes.
So that's super important. That's what's going to make you stay, honestly.
Yep.
That helps you stay. Because I'll tell you, the further you go, it's lonely at the top, man.
Yeah. And then the longer you do it, I haven't done a extremely long time. I've tried to experiment, with some other places, but it's almost like nothing's ever perfect. You know what I mean? But if you find a good teacher and good, a place, and the people like to train there, and it's good for you and it's pushing you, that's where you should be.
Yeah.
I was going to add on, whenever you're trying to find a style to do, don't be afraid to go to multiple different places.
That's right.
See the community and the style itself, to see if you're interested in the style, and also just the community and how they treat each other and how they treat other people and stuff like that.
I'd encourage it even.
I'm going to just say, I don't know, this pops in my head, but I think it's good. Train something.
Yeah.
Do something.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. And if you try different things, here's the thing. Sometimes you may try something and it may not be for you. And that's okay. Maybe you try boxing. I'm not really a boxer. You try karate. That's not my thing. But, oh, man, I really like wrestling. That's my thing.
Yeah.
It's okay. Try those things. And what you'll see is, maybe you'll do wrestling for a while, and maybe you'll, because we all change. The only thing on this planet and in this universe that is constant is change. You may say, maybe now I can go back to that boxing that I wasn't, because now I understand.
Yep. I wish I'd have done more boxing before I went to the MMA place. You know, like I'm telling you, it's the small details. They make such a huge difference.
They do.
You know, so
They do. And so, I mean, as you grow, you know, Ricky may say, you know what, I want to dabble in this a little bit. And
I've told you this many times. Like, I was surprised, like how well prepared I was walking in there from Kung Fu. You know, like if you don't know anything and you walk in there, like it, you know, they're not going to slow down for you.
right.
But I feel like they didn't have to for me. Of course, like he was, you know, there was things I needed to adapt to and learn. Like I don't know everything at all, you know, but like when we was doing the stretches and the warm ups and stuff, I could follow along. I knew what we was doing. I knew the kicks. I know, you know, keep your hands up, you know, like your basics, you know,
Right.
We did a lot of footwork drills,
Right.
you know, so I thought that was cool how it translated.
Well, you know, again, you know how I would say this, man. Principles are principles, no
Mhm.
matter where you go.
Yeah.
And if you can learn principles and concepts, those things can carry over from style to style to style to style to style. And
Yeah.
so then you can walk in a place and it may be something new. And yeah, granted, maybe you need to work on certain body mechanics, but if you can understand the principles, you can start to pick it up and be like, okay, I understand how this works. Again, we talked about the mechanics, right?
Mhm.
You start to figure it out. And so I think, you know, again, that's a huge pro. But also I think another thing too that I think people need to realize is how you learn. Because some people learn well doing multiple things and some people don't. Some
Yeah.
people need to ingratiate themselves in something.
If it becomes too much where you're not having fun, it becomes a stress. Yeah, you got to get stuff off your plate.
Right.
That's a skill I developed some years back that I appreciate of mine. Like I am fully aware when I get too much on my plate, and I will take something off in a heartbeat. It doesn't bother me.
Real quick, I remember when I was at Winthrop and I started doing the karate and then I started doing the kung fu, but I also dabbled in fencing. And they had a kendo club.
Kendo, nice.
Yes. And I wanted to do, I liked all of them.
Yeah.
So, but I was like, I don't have time to do all of them.
Yeah.
And I want to be good at least two,
Yep.
you know? So I was like, okay, I got to make a decision. What do I really want to do? And I mean, Winthrop's got a good fencing program, actually. A lot of people don't know that. They do have a good fencing program. And, you know, at the time, the Kendo program was pretty good as well, too. They were connected to, I think, Charlotte Kendo, and they have a big following.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these were no scrubs. So, you know, whatever path that I chose, I was going to get good training. That's actually how I met Brian, through fencing, because he was a fencer, and he started doing martial arts. But either way, I had to make a decision. So that's why I started with the karate and the kung fu, and I stuck with that. But I mean, you just got to choose what's best for you. And you got to make sure that, you know, whatever path that you take, that you know, you're convicted with that path, and that, you know, you give it all you got. And, you know, it's worked out for me.
Yep.
It's definitely worked out for me. So, Ricky, do you have anything for our listeners out in YouTube land that you want to say before we get out of here?
Just don't be afraid to do something that you want to do. If you want to try a new style, don't be afraid to go try it, even if it's like a completely separate style from what you're being taught by your teacher. Don't be afraid to go to do a new style and be like, oh, I'm cheating on my teacher.
Right.
Because if they're a good teacher, they're going to actually encourage you
Yes.
to try and learn more rather than stick at that one spot. And
if you're looking to compete in any one thing, like, and your coach says, like, I would wait, or like, you should focus on this, that's one thing. But like, if they completely discourage and say, this martial art is the way and it's the only way, that's a red flag.
I would say make sure, depending on the culture, because some people are very traditional and they will feel like you are cheating on them. So it's polite to go to your coach or go to your teacher and say, hey, you know, I'm thinking about doing some boxing. What do you think about this? Is that okay for me to do this? You know, kind of, you know, make sure you're showing them that respect. Most people are going to not be like, no, you can't go do that, you know, but because
Right.
we live in a modern era, we understand that people are
I
doing
tried to
mixed
do
thing.
that with you as well.
Yeah,
you know,
and
like because I've that's part of my problem in my whole life is I have too many interests, you know, but I can't stop it. You know, like I do want to go try this and that and this and that. Like,
Who am I to say, oh, Joe, you can't train something else when I'm doing two things?
right, right. No,
No, you can't do it, but I can. No.
Right.
But you know, I think it's just polite just to kind of, you know, show your teacher that respect or your coach that respect.
Yeah.
And that they understand, like, okay, I get it, you know. And I love it because I'll come to Joe and I'll be like, hey, what are you working on over there? Oh, you working that? Can you show me that?
Yeah.
You know, because it helps me.
Yeah.
You know, because it helps me because I spend a lot of time running this place, running Winthrop. I don't always have time to get away and be like, oh, I'm going to go to the boxing school over here.
right.
I'm going to go to the MMA gym. Otherwise, I'm going to be divorced. And y'all are going to have to ensure
You gotta have time for
that there's a cot in here for me and
Yep.
things like that because I'm going to live in the school literally.
Yeah. Some days it like literally let me think. What like there was a day I think it was Thursday last week. Like you know, I like training all these places. All of them. You know what I mean? And like I was close to like popping in, you know, and like you know, I can be spontaneous like that and just like, you know, like signing, you know, another thing like a few months, but it's like I know I'd be putting too much on my plate.
Mhm.
I know I would be, and I can't right now. You know, I feel like I can take on so much, but you have to be aware of like what's too much. Like, you know, I got a student I'm coaching. I'm trying to wrestle next month.
Mm-hmm.
Then in June, I'm trying to box. And this is where we're only talking about martial arts right here. We're not talking about the fact that I'm in college and I
Yes.
got 2 kids and a wife
And a wife, right?
and bills
see,
to pay.
See
you
what
know,
I'm saying? Like
so, you know, so
balance, people.
balance. Be aware of what you can
Balance.
take on. Yeah. So if I was to just say, oh well, my urge to go do jujitsu right now is so strong, let me go sign up, that would be too much.
Yeah.
Not right now.
Right.
It's gonna have
Right.
to wait.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Oh.
So again, this was a good topic. So I don't know. May have to. I don't know. I like this one. This facilitated really good conversation. So again, if you guys have any comments, please leave them down below. Follow us on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe at the Northern Shaolin School of Kung Fu. That's our page. And look for season 1 and season 2 of Martial Mentality. Season 3 is coming soon. I promise.
Coming soon.
So again, thank you guys for being on here.
Thank you, Sifu.
Thank you.
And this is Martial Mentality signing out. Peace.